This episode of Weeknight Wines is all about dessert. Yay! You know, during the holidays, we indulge a little bit more, and you may want a glass of wine to go with your dessert. I have the answer, and it's super easy to find. You can find it in the grocery store for under $20. But I'm featuring two wines today because I want to show you the difference between the two and why you drink each wine with the particular dessert. So first of all, let's talk chocolate desserts. I have some yummy chocolate cherry cake here that I made a little bit earlier, and chocolate and ruby port are a match made in heaven. And you're thinking to yourself, ooh, port, isn't that expensive and hard to find? And it's all just very confusing because there's all different kinds of names. Yes, that's true. But if you buy ruby and tawny port, these are both not very long aged ports, and they're easy to find. And like I said, you can find it for under $20. So ruby port is the match made in heaven with chocolate. So let's take a look at it. And while we're doing that, let's also take a look at Portugal. So here's the Douro Valley right here. And here it is, it's this long area. And the Douro Valley started growing grapes a long time ago and was actually one of the first appellations in Europe. You know, that's the named place of where a wine is from. First appellations in Europe, like in the 1758 or so. So they grew these vines in incredible conditions. So I'm going to show you a picture of what it looks like in the Douro Valley. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, so they used to grow the grapes and then make the wine and then put the wine on barges and take the wine to age in these lodges across from Oporto, which is right there. Okay, that's very romantic, isn't it? Well, today they don't do that. They actually put the wine on tanker trucks and send it up to across from Oporto to age. But I still love the story. So let's go ahead and taste this wine. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna look at the color of it. And when we look at the ruby port, it's beautiful ruby color, and it's almost got a little purple in it as well. So we're gonna smell it. Oh my gosh, cherry jam, blackberries, stewed fruits, a little prunes. Let's taste it. Wow, you think to yourself, ooh, that's really sweet, Nancy. But when you taste it with your chocolate cake or your cookies or your brownies, you're gonna find that ruby port is a perfect pairing. I love chocolate. Do you? Sorry, you're watching me too. And remember to taste wine with food. You taste the wine first, like I did. You taste a little food and you taste the wine again. And you know what, y'all? The ruby port is not as sweet now because the chocolate was so rich and unctuous and sweet. So I want you to remember this. When you have wine with dessert, the wine always needs to be a little bit sweeter, as sweet as, or a little bit sweeter than the dessert. So this fits the bill. It's wonderful with chocolate, ruby port. And if you'll notice the name of this, it's Sandeman. Found it in the regular grocery store. But all the names of all the port houses are British because the Brits owned the port business back then, and they pretty much do now too. So Sandeman, I think I paid $18.99 for it. It's delicious with the chocolate cake. So remember, no wine that's not as sweet as or sweeter than your chocolate dessert. Now let's talk about Tawny Port. Okay, so if you have something like this is my toasted walnut blondie. Oh my gosh, it's so good, and I will put the recipe in the notes. So super easy to make. It's so easy. You could whip it up this afternoon and have it on Christmas with a little glass of tawny port. So a little bit different color. If I look at it, it's got a little more brown in it, and it's tawny port, so that makes sense. So when I smell it, I get nuts and caramel and yum. Okay, so that's why I say anything with nuts, caramel, brown sugar, anything like that, Beautiful with Tawny Port. And so now I'm going to taste it. Nice, good acidity. Not really any tannins. Sweet, not as sweet as the ruby port, but that makes sense because this is more nutty as our accompanying food is. So I hope you enjoyed that quick tip on dessert wines. The nice thing about port, y'all, is that you can keep it in your fridge. Just cork it and put it in your fridge. It'll stay in your fridge for 2 or 3 weeks. So you can enjoy it throughout the entire holiday season. Go ahead and put it in just a smaller wine glass like this, and they should be served a little chilled. The Tawny more chilled than the ruby. I hope you enjoyed this quick idea for dessert on Weeknight Wine. Until next week, cheers.